on, new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we...
That's so true.
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this before.
The joke hit its mark, and the crowd burst out laughing. But Gutfeld was not done with the joke. He used the opportunity to call attention to what he saw as obvious hypocrisy. Sunny Hostin has long argued that individuals should confront the legacy of their ancestors, often basing her arguments on historical accountability and institutionalized oppression. However, she appeared to dismiss her own family's controversial past as a fact of life. Gutfeld was not unaware of this. He underlined how these tragedies show how dangerous identity politics can be. According to him, this happens when a person's chosen narrative diverges from their actual circumstances, undermining their moral authority. He made a very clear point. To tackle complex subjects like race and history, one must strike a careful balance between self-awareness and empathy.
It is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Exactly, because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one of them?
As Gutfeld pointed out, when activists like Sunny simplify complex subjects into identity-driven narratives, they may overlook crucial facts, including their own inconsistencies. He emphasized that the real twist was that Sunny seemed to be afraid to confront this disturbing reality, in addition to the fact that her forebears helped create a system that she vehemently dislikes. Instead, she quickly brushed it aside, minimizing its significance. His remarks struck a chord with many people because they provided a vivid example of what happens when moral superiority and unsettling reality conflict. This was more than just about Sunny for Gutfeld. It was a broader lesson about how theatrical rage often triumphs over accountability. As soon as Sunny's family history was revealed, social media was flooded with comments. Reparations became a typical caption for a joke or meme that went viral. I'll write that check to myself now. Social media platforms like TikTok and Twitter were rife with strong opinions and stinging humor, ensuring the event's continued prominence. Some backed Sunny, saying she shouldn't be held responsible for the actions of her forebears.
In her defense, everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. But I'm more worried for Sunny Hostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of The View. And they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now why I'm so stupid and fat.
But many others couldn't help but see the glaring inconsistency. Sunny, who has gained notoriety for holding others accountable for wrongs done in the past, seemed to dismiss her own family's past with a nonchalant shrug, claiming it is a natural part of life. A contentious debate resulted from this. Do prominent figures like Sunny have to live up to the same moral standards that they demand of others? Critics said her response lacked the introspection and growth one would expect from someone who is so vocal about accountability. The irony of the scenario ensured that the response did not fade quickly, keeping the conversation going for weeks. The revelation's aftermath not only sparked debate, but also produced some awkward viewing moments. When it was revealed that her ancestors had owned slaves, the typically vibrant mood around the table suddenly ceased, and an unsettling calm replaced it. For a moment, even the famously funny Whoopi Goldberg wasn't sure how to respond to the situation. But the mood was quite different on Greg Gutfeld's panel. His co-hosts didn't hold back when they made critical but humorous remarks. One even said that Sunny would have to start degrading herself due to her family's history. The ensuing laughter, which emphasized their disapproval of what they saw as her hypocritical standards, further damaged her moral authority. Rosie O'Donnell also contributed her voice, offering a more collected and perceptive assessment of the circumstances.
Yes, there's nothing worse than to find out you're a white woman.
She's so disappointed.
It's really disappointing.
Her mother was white.
Oh my
The
god.
shame.
Oh my god.
The horror. It's PBS, I think, show about your history. and finds out that this is fantastic. She is descended from slaveholders. She's descended from slaveholders, and she's been apparently getting a lot of mail about her call for reparations because it turns out she's going to be paying them and not actually receiving them.
While Rosie O'Donnell emphasized that people should be judged by their actions rather than their ancestry, she also pointed out how identity politics may sometimes oversimplify complex issues like race and history. Her perspective spurred a broader conversation about how these types of circumstances may challenge established narratives and compel individuals to undergo uncomfortable self-examination. Different people have different reactions to Sunny's situation. Some saw it as simply another case of identity politics gone terribly wrong, while others saw it as an opportunity to examine personal accountability. Regardless of one's position, it was difficult to overlook the tension surrounding Sunny's comments. When she found out about her family's past, her reaction felt like a missed opportunity. Instead of pausing to reflect or having a meaningful conversation about the complexities of duty and genealogy, she quickly dismissed it as a fact of life. Since she had built her career on defending high moral standards for others, many were upset by this casual disregard. This could have been a crucial developmental moment. Sunny had the chance to confront the irony, discuss her inner struggle to reconcile her family's history, and use the opportunity to further the discussion on historical injustices. It could have served as a powerful reminder that no one's past is clear-cut or free of contradictions. Unfortunately, when the focus shifted to her perceived hypocrisy and refusal to confront her own history, what could have been a productive discourse devolved into yet another fight over accountability. Sunny's story is a sobering reminder that everyone has a complex background and that moral beliefs may be quickly questioned when unsettling facts surface. Her situation raises an important question. Should you be ready to hold yourself to the Eminis Farce same standard of accountability that you demand of others? Thanks to the internet's reaction, viral memes, and Greg Gutfeld's insightful analysis, this moment isn't going away anytime soon. Whether Sunny chooses to ignore it entirely or face it head-on will ultimately determine how others see her.
If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked, half baked, and you went on stage with it. And it's nothing
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
Sunny Hostin has made headlines lately, but not for her usual biting critique on The View. Now that he is the focus of attention, her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, isn't feeling very well about the news, to put it mildly. Dr. Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and the head of Hostin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, is now involved in a legal dispute. The claims include insurance fraud, illegal kickbacks, and a massive RICO case involving 180 defendants. This is not your typical legal scenario, as it is turning out to be one of the most explosive scandals in recent history. Let's analyze it. The original goal of the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or RICO Act, was to dismantle criminal groups like mafia syndicates. But surprisingly, mobsters had nothing to do with this case. It involves doctors, surgeons, and other medical professionals who are now embroiled in a major court battle. The case alleges that Dr. Hostin and other individuals colluded to exploit the healthcare system for personal gain. They are accused of collecting unlawful compensation for performing unnecessary procedures and of fabricating insurance claims for operations that may never have occurred. Dr. Hostin's lawyer, Daniel Thwaites, wasted no time defending his client. He condemned the lawsuit as lacking substance and accused the plaintiffs of using it as a last-ditch attempt to recover money damages. Thwaites turned the plaintiffs into the adversaries in this case, using a tried-and-true legal tactic to divert criticism away from his client.
I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
But the drama didn't stop there. Joe Rogan soon joined the discussion, criticizing the situation and what he saw as blatant hypocrisy. According to Rogan, Sunny Hostin often conveyed the idea that she was morally superior and well-informed, especially when it came to medical matters, given that her husband is a doctor. But here's the twist. Although she portrayed herself as a champion for accountability, it's possible that she was well aware of her husband's questionable actions.
According to a new lawsuit obtained by Page Six, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influence and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies.
Rogan's harsh comments severely questioned the veracity of her outspoken stances on a variety of issues, adding fuel to an already raging fire. His comments made it clear that public hypocrisy is unacceptable, particularly when it involves a personal connection to a major scandal. As the case develops and more details emerge, it becomes evident that the lawsuit is not the only issue. The authenticity of public figures people have come to trust is also at stake. What happens when the moral high ground is undermined by conflicts in one's personal and professional life? Beyond the legal concerns surrounding Dr. Hostin, this narrative raises broader questions about accountability and the role models people admire. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.